So today's episode is the last one with Lauren at Carb Cutters. We really enjoyed talking to her, and please listen to this part and all of the other parts. We really hope that you enjoy this episode, and obviously subscribe on Apple Podcasts and review us, please. We do really appreciate it, especially because we're a new podcast. So I hope that you enjoy this episode. Let's get into it.
So let's talk about eating out on keto. Restaurants, around friend's house, family, for example. Lauren, obviously your mum is keto as well.
Mm-hmm.
And
she's keto-ish, she calls herself. Keto-ish. It's keto when it suits her the most. She's flexi keto. But yes, she's completely supportive, and there'll always be keto stuff there.
If I'm right, her dog is also keto?
Yes, Ted is keto. I think he's lost...
Ted is keto as well.
6 kilos now, I want to say. But he's actually done so well. Other than his weight, he's like a puppy again. Honestly, they cannot believe his energy. And
his energy, that is mad.
Yeah, it is. Like, we took him to Folkestone back in June just for a walk, and he looked so old. He's 7, I think he is. But he looked really old and tired, and it was sort of like, oh, this looks quite upsetting to see him walking. So that's why my parents thought about it for a bit, and he started keto like probably about 6 weeks ago now. And he's honestly like a puppy. So much energy. His eyes are brighter. He looks smaller, and he's a big dog anyway. He was like 60 kilos to start with. He's a massive golden retriever. But yeah, if it can work for a dog, but again, he's just eating what a dog should eat. He's eating natural products, natural stuff.
So the dog's done better than most people in Slim. Oh, that's
yes.
Embarrassing.
That is the best tag.
How
for
embarrassing
keto.
is that?
Yeah, dog is winning. He's getting all his fancy like lamb hearts and fancy bits from Dobbies, and yeah, he's enjoying it.
So when you go to your mum's for dinner, or you go for a lunch or whatever, I assume she will just provide keto automatically for you because she knows what you eat.
Yeah, completely. Or I just help myself out of her fridge, which I just do there. But she'll always make sure
there's your home still.
Yeah, pretty much. There's always like cold deli meats, cheese there, like tinned fish. There's always, cream, unsweetened soy milk. There's always stuff available. And she knows what I'm like with my measuring scales to measure my stuff out. So there's no judgment there at all when I'm doing anything.
Absolutely not.
And friends as well have been really supportive. I've been around friends' houses for dinner that have, like my best friend's fiance, he's really good at cooking like Japanese food. So he's done like a ramen, but he got us like the low carb noodles in there, and it tasted absolutely amazing. Sort of went out his way to make us feel included, which is really nice. So I'd say all family and friends now, and my work as well, are fully used to how I eat. So there's no judgment now. Like there was at the beginning, I'd say, especially with work, like, oh God, the usual, you're eating fat, you're going to die. But you were fine when you were eating 30 donuts last week, but now you're going to be really ill. Now you're eating that bit of bacon.
Like when the 30 donuts are in the kitchen and everyone's rushing to the kitchen getting that email and you're not running there, and they're questioning, well, why? Then,
yeah, exactly.
I've had it at work as well. But like I said, they don't really... I mean, they'll offer things around the office. They'll be like, does anyone want this? Does anyone want this? They'll be like, Lauren, you'll probably say no, but I'm going to offer it anyway so you don't feel left out, because they know now, and there is no judgment there. That's the line I always get,
yeah. Yeah. I think especially when they can see your results with it. Like at the beginning, it's almost like a bit laughing at you, almost like, what you're doing. But I'd say about stone in, it's like, oh, tell me a bit more about this. And then another stone in, it's like, tell me what you did. I need to know. So, now you're interested, are you? I see. But
yeah, I've had about 4 colleagues of mine just be like, well, what is it and what do you do? And they started keto, and one of them lost so much. So it was kind of like, they didn't laugh at it at the beginning, but they didn't really understand what it was. And then I think they were seeing my lunches as well and seeing the food that I was eating, and they were like, oh, so you just do this and you just do that. And then I just saw a lot more of them were kind of bringing in the same foods as I was. And then like one of them just lost like another... Yeah, like one of them just lost like 2 stone, and I was just like, see, it was that easy. And it was nice to talk to someone about it as well.
Yeah, always nice. And I think it's the disbelief, seeing what you can eat. Like, I remember just
Yeah.
eating strawberries and I think clotted cream as like, you know, part of my lunch one day, and they're like, you can actually eat that and you've lost weight at the same time. Like, yes,
Yeah.
it can happen. It's honestly,
Especially the cream
it
bit.
does work. Yeah, they just can't. It's like they can't actually believe it until they've seen the results. Like, I have to say, the first time I ever heard about it, I heard about it through learning about paleo, which my father-in-law had done, and that's how I sort of learned about it. And I remember thinking, oh my God, what an idiot. Why would you have to eat bacon? Like, he's going to get so fat. But of course he didn't, and he lost weight and did well. And I think it's the ignorance to it. Like, you refuse to believe it until you do your own research. And I think you need to research it. There's so much to learn, and it's so interesting. Even if you just watch The Magic Pill.
Exactly. We mentioned that in the last episode as well. And obviously, as soon as you Google keto, the word fat and high fat just scares everyone off. They're just like, well, I couldn't possibly lose weight eating this. I couldn't possibly lose weight eating that. But you don't knock it till you tried it.
We've just been so
Yeah.
conditioned.
Yeah. So like my other half, he just, like that picture that I put on my story today where he got a McDonald's burger without the bun and then kept asking me, like, he was going to Tesco, he was like, what can I get? What can I get? And I was like, you can have this and you can have that. And I was like, so how did you feel afterwards? Did you feel bloated? Did you feel full up? You know, like, what could you actually taste what you were eating without the bun not being there? And he was actually quite pleasantly surprised. I mean, he'll probably just go home and have like chips and steak or something.
But it shows you, doesn't it? At least shows people. Yeah. The bun is just, well, McDonald's buns are so pumped with sugar anyway. But without it, you can taste the food more. You can taste it. Like, even with pizza, the good bit is the toppings, not the base. You know, it's just a platform.
With pizza, there's more base than toppings. So that's probably why it just tastes so bland. Like, it's the same with the burger. The majority of it is a bun, especially a Big Mac. You've got more bun than anything in there, but you take that out and you can actually taste the sauce, you can taste the pickles, you can taste the cheese, you can taste it all.
Plus, I'd say keto makes you have a more sensitive palate as well. I think it does definitely change your palate. Like me with spicy foods, like going from korma to vindaloo's, you know, it's a massive change for my palate. And like sweet things now taste more sweet. I think eating strawberries and berries now, whatever, just taste really, really sweet to me. Whereas before that wouldn't have tasted like a treat, I suppose. Whereas now it does.
So when you eat out, do you choose your choice of restaurant to, well, I mean, you obviously wouldn't pick somewhere like Zizi or Pizza Express because no one really wants to eat a salad for dinner. So do you obviously go by like your cuisine? Do you look at a couple of places and look at the menu and see what there is?
Yeah, I definitely like to check menus in advance where I can. I'd say the most difficult places to eat are Italian or Chinese. I think there are options, as you say, like you can have a big salad. But a Chinese, you could have, I don't know, your duck or your prawns or whatever.
Egg foo young or something.
Yeah, but I think because it's not what you really would want, you don't feel
It's
satisfied.
not noodles, it's not rice,
No,
it's
not
not
chow
sweet and sour
mein.
chicken. Exactly.
And the problem if I do that, I could go to, say, a Chinese restaurant, eat, you know, egg foo young and stay on plan. But I would feel deprived doing that, and then I would end up coming home and binging. Whereas if I've had the choice of a restaurant, say, like, I don't know, a gastropub where I can do a deconstructed burger or a steak, I would enjoy the meal as well as being on plan, and then I wouldn't binge. So I think obviously if you're restricting for the wrong reason, just sort of show everyone around you, look, I'm being on plan, I'm making these good choices. You're kind of lying to yourself if you're not enjoying what you're eating. There's no point. You're better to have a little bit of something that you do like.
Yeah, because like you said, if you're going to go home and binge, you might as well have just had that chow mein and not sat there with a tasteless egg foo young when really that's just an omelette and you can make it at home.
Exactly. And I think this is where it comes into play of going off plan and things. Like if you'd gone to a party and you really, really wanted a slice of birthday cake, if you're like, no, I'm being good today, not having the birthday cake. But if you had really, really wanted it, I know, and I've done this before, I'd then go home and I'd buy a load of cakes and I'd eat more cake than I would have eaten if I'd eaten the one slice at the party.
Exactly.
So you've actually made the situation worse by not just listening. And say that cake was, I don't know, 30, 40 carbs for the slice, you'll be back in ketosis by the next morning. Don't
But
panic
then you
about
go
it.
home like you just said,
have
you
like
go home
hundreds of,
and you eat that, exactly, you have hundreds and hundreds, and then you feel sick and you're not really eating that cake with everyone else. You're eating it for the wrong reasons when you literally just could have had a slice with everyone else, satisfy your craving, and that's that. So that
Exactly,
And then
obviously
it
like,
takes
comes
you
on.
yeah,
like 5 days to get back into
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
ketosis.
because your cravings will be higher because you'd have eaten a bigger volume of stuff. And yes, food is fuel, but it also is part of culture and celebrations. And it's, you know, like there was a big part of my journey where I was 100% strict, and it worked for me at the time, but I don't think it was doing the best things for my relationship with food. Because at the beginning it's going into one of your other questions, Lauren, I think, but I had a couple of planned off days.
Yeah,
So I'd
yeah.
say within my 11 months of losing my weight, I think I had only 5 planned off days, and that was all I had off. There was no
Yeah.
unplanned binging. And having it planned and being something that was worth it, like I did Harry Potter afternoon tea, which was amazing, and I had Christmas Day off, for example. And that was worth it, rather than just, oh, I've had a bad day, I'm going to get pizza now. You know, if you're going to have something off plan, in quote marks, make it worth it, make sure you really enjoy it.
And I think, like you said, 5 times in the 11th month, it is kind of nice to space it out. I mean, I didn't want to have any kind of sugary shit like I did last weekend because I wanted to save that for my birthday. Now, my birthday's only in about 2 weeks. So when it comes to it, I'm not actually going to feel like, oh my God, I've done so well, I now deserve this, I'm going to eat the world. Because after last weekend, I'm probably not going to, because oh God, I can't remember the last time I did that, probably Christmas. And it, like I said, it reminds me of why I don't eat that way anymore. But when you do give yourself those breaks over a long period of time, say like even from Christmas to Easter, that is a good 4 months. And then you can just have it, get it out of the way, and then just get straight back on. And then maybe not have another one until like a birthday or a barbecue a few months later in the summer if you want like a bun or something. And then every other occasion, you know, Halloween, loads of sweets are around at that time, bonfire night, things like that. So do you personally think that it is quite healthy to have these off-plan days and just mini breaks, whether it be a day or 2?
Yeah, I think it is. And again, that has changed a lot. My opinion of that has changed a lot with my own journey. I think it's very different for everyone. So for me, if I have an off day, I'm fully prepared that the next day I am going to struggle. I'm going to
Exactly, it's
really
that
struggle.
mental prep the next day.
Yeah, I know it's coming. My cravings are sky high. I wake up ravenous, like that gnawing hunger, which you don't normally have with keto, obviously. But that's what scares me. It's not the weight I'll gain the next morning with water. It's not, I don't know, it's the craving. I think that's the big thing for me. I have to really make it worth it to do it. And I say this to everyone. So it's very individual. If you feel, like I think Zoe, Great British Bacon, she has her untracked days. She has bits she's fancied through the week. And I think that's really good. That's really good. She has what she fancies. It's very healthy mindset, and she doesn't struggle the next day to get back on. But I am not in a place where I could do that, because I would struggle. I would have those bits of sugar and it would fire off all the signals in my brain. I'd be like, oh, that's so good. I want more. I want more. But she does that really well. I know Keto Sisters does planned off days, and that works for them. Like Vicky always says how different that feels to an unplanned binge. And I think everyone's got their different ways of doing it. I think it is important to not have the last supper mindset, if you know what I mean. So I would always do this. I'd say, this is the last time I'm going to ever eat pizza. This is it. From Monday, I'm going to change. And you're telling yourself you're never going to eat it again. And it's unrealistic, because of course you will. But pizza's always going to exist. If you don't eat it for a month or a year, it's still going to be there. And it's almost taking a bit of pressure off and saying, I can have that again, but when I actually want it, not just for the sake of it.
No, definitely. Gia, do you have many off-plan days? Or, because I know when you went away, obviously, you was just eating what you wanted.
Yeah, I was doing what I wanted on holiday, like, because it's a completely different environment, and it's you know, you don't want to be sticking to like this rigid kind of schedule when you're away. And obviously you can, like, you know, you do you, but if I would feel like I was deprived of myself if I'm like in the sun by the sea, like,
Oh yeah.
and then I'm just eating the salad every single day. Like, the salads are amazing in Cyprus, but I can't eat them every day.
It's not really a carby country, is it? It's not like you went to Italy and you've got carbs around you all the time. I mean, is Cyprus really that carby?
Yeah, but remember, it was like British ruled for so long, so chips are a staple of every single Cypriot dish now.
I think holidays are a big one. I'll get this from a lot of clients. What should I do on holiday? And I say there's so many options. It's, yeah, of course you can track rigidly and, you know, you may see results. That's great. But is that really a good thing if you have felt deprived on the holiday? And like I said, you may come back and then binge because you've been like, oh, I didn't have that while I was there. Or like I'm going to Centre Parks in a couple of weeks and I'm not planning to track. I'm planning to keep it generally low carb. But if there is something I want in a restaurant, I'm going to have it because I'm on holiday. I'm only away for 5 days. I'm not going to undo 2 years of work with 1 or 2 meals off plan. What I don't want is to say, oh, there's a certain dessert I really want in this restaurant, but I'm not going to have it. And then I'll get home from Centre Parks, be like, right, because I didn't have that, let's go and eat it in secret. Let's get it and eat it at home. I'd rather enjoy it out with my friends and enjoy the moment because, yeah, I think eating off plan on holiday is it's a touchy subject, but there's so many ways to handle it. And as you said, it is you do you. It has to be what works for you as an individual.
What I mostly did was have a low carb breakfast, low carb lunch, and then whatever meal that we were eating out, then I would have what I wanted. And so you're keeping those cravings lowered, but not
That's really good.
completely going off the deep end into the sea of carbs. So.
And did you feel in control doing that?
Oh, I'm definitely much more than I would have done if I was having carbs at every single meal, because I think it's so easy if the carbs are what you really enjoy, then you stick to those more than you're thinking about your protein and the fat that you're going to eat, and you're just going to be hungry, and then you're just going to keep having these snacks like, oh, there's ice cream, there's cake, there's this, there's that. And then it's just going to be a cycle of getting back into the mindset that you had years ago.
Completely. Like if you're eating the carbs for breakfast or lunch, you're going to be setting yourself up for a full day of hunger. At least if you've kept yourself fueled all day long, you're having your last meal with something, I'm on holiday, I'm going to enjoy that. It's a much healthier way to do it.
Obviously, when you are in a hot country as well, you don't really be wanting to be walking around hungry with no food in your system, because hot weather and no food in your system is probably one of the worst things. Remember, I tried fasting during the summer, like working from home, and I just couldn't do it. I generally thought I was going to die. So you obviously do need to make sure that you fuel yourself right, regardless of what the food is, really.
Well, you also don't want to be super full walking around in a hot country.
Well, exactly, yeah.
That's like the worst.
Especially when you're in swimwear. Oh, God.
I did want to ask you, Lauren, about, you do keto like your own way, and you don't fast, which I think is really interesting. So like you don't fast for like extended periods of time?
No, not at all. And I know I am in the minority there, which surprised me when I sort of came to learn that. But I think where I've had my own issues with food and with binge eating, fasting is like another restriction to me. I have tried it. I've never done longer than probably 10 hours, I think. And I don't enjoy it. I know I could probably push past and see some benefits. But for me personally, it's a trigger for binging because it's too much of a restriction.
I definitely feel that. Like, if I restrict for too long, and if I fast for too long, and then I'll want more food than if I'd
exactly,
just
yes.
kind of...
Exactly.
If I'm hungry, then I'll eat. But if I can fast, if I'm not hungry, then I will push through. And it's not even like a push-in, it's just like you're not hungry, so you just don't eat.
Yeah, you're truly listening to your body if you're not hungry. I think I'll always encourage clients to do it if they feel they want to, but I don't encourage it if they're just trying to speed up weight loss. Say, what are the reasons you want to do it? Because there's more benefits to it than just dropping pounds. But for me personally, and for any clients I take on that have had issues with their relationship with food, I will really talk through it with them. Especially people that have been anorexic, for example. You know, that's a big thing because to them it's very parallel to that. Of course, we know it's not. You know, you're still taking in other nutrients a lot of the time when you're fasting, keeping your electrolytes up. But for people that have had those issues, they don't always do it the right way, if that makes sense.
Oh, definitely. But there was points where I was doing like OMAD, and Lauren will know this, that I used to message her, I'd be like, oh, I'm so bloated, like I can't do anything. Or especially with like a more plant-based diet, like you are intaking so many vegetables anyway, so to do OMAD on top of that, it was really difficult.
I mean, the 1 minute Gia was messaging me and the next minute she was asleep. Because she'd literally just be, you know, it would just be that uncomfortable, bloated feeling, makes you just feel tired, and then you just go to sleep, just sleep it off.
Yeah, I think even though it's not for me, it doesn't mean I'll discourage clients from anything they want to try. Like egg fasts aren't for me either. I don't enjoy it. But if someone wants to try it, I'll still talk them through it. You know, just because it doesn't work for me doesn't mean it won't work for someone else. I think it
Exactly.
is
You're
really
giving
good
them
thought.
options still.
Exactly,
You know, I
yeah.
mean, if it doesn't work for you, that's fine, but you can still advise someone, you know, you can do it. Like we were saying,
Yeah, you can't deny the benefits of it.
Yeah.
And I would say
absolutely.
I can go for longer. Like now, I don't normally eat my first meal till 11:30. And pre-keto, I would have to eat breakfast, you know, as soon as I got to the office, 8:00.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
I suppose in a way you can look at it that I have extended a window there, because I can go for longer without food. But I know when I can feel the hunger setting in, and I can listen to my body now. No, now I need the food. Like I don't often have bulletproof coffee because I don't like drinking my calories too much. But yesterday I had one, and I was like, oh, I've just thrown, 300 calories out the window. Or I could have had a load of veg and some cheese. And see, a lot of clients I have absolutely swear by bulletproof coffee. They say it sets them up for the day, energizes them. But again, that works for them, doesn't work for me. I'll have them sometimes, if I'm short on time, they do the job. But again, it's one of those big things in the keto community that when I started, I thought, well, you have to do that. You have to put butter in your coffee to lose weight.
You have to put collagen in it. You have to put MCT oil in it.
Yeah, or you're not going to lose.
Yeah, I mean, one of the top questions when everyone starts is, what is bulletproof coffee? Do I have to drink it? And a lot of people think that liquids don't count, when liquid calories are probably just as bad as food, especially in hot drinks.
You don't notice them. Like, I measure my cream every time I make a coffee. And people are like, oh, you're carrying, some people think, oh, you're carrying your scales around. Like, my family don't judge, but if I take them to the office, people wonder what I'm doing. But that can be the difference between 100 odd calories with a bigger pour if you're not looking. And if that can really, really add up, and that can be the difference between you being in your calorie deficit and being in a surplus.
So I do bulletproof coffee like a little bit different if I do have it, is that I only add like MCT oil. I don't add any other fats. And then I might actually add like a spoonful of protein powder as well, because if I'm putting that as my breakfast or as my like drink, then I want it to have meaning in my day.
Yeah, that makes more sense, because you're making sure you're still getting as many nutrients you can into it, rather than just being a fat bomb just to fill you. You're still getting into nutrients from it.
Also, I feel sick if I eat that much fat and like nothing else.
Yeah,
like, if that's what's
your stomach turn.
Yeah. Like I've thrown up a couple of times just from having like way too much, like in just a bulletproof coffee. It was awful. Like when I started, because you're so like pushed into this mentality of like 16:8, 18:6, OMAD, bulletproof coffee, everything, and like moderate protein because everyone's scared of protein, and then on top of that being conditioned with like low fat for most of your life, it's just so difficult to then try and overcome that.
It is a minefield to get your head around. There's so many contradictory things out there.
Especially with the bulletproof coffee, because I mean, I would say obviously when you're at home and you're eating breakfast on keto, it is a lot easier. I've learned that when working from home, I don't necessarily have breakfast, but when I do, I know that I can just go into the kitchen, boil a couple of eggs, go back to my laptop, and that could be like a low carb breakfast for me. But then working in the office, there isn't really many good keto low carb breakfast options. And I don't necessarily like to eat in the morning. I really can't eat before 1:00. So when I used to have my bulletproof coffees, like Gia was saying, you need to make sure that it has some sort of meaning to your day. So I would get the just like the little sachets of Kerrygold butter. I remember buying some on eBay. I bought like
I remember you sending me a
250.
picture of her.
Yeah, they don't
Yeah.
do them anymore, because I think one of
Oh.
them was like Anchor, and I was like, no, I don't want Anchor, I want Kerrygold. So I had those little sachets, like just the ones that you get in a hotel with like your breakfast, and I used to take those to work with me, leave them in the fridge, have my butter, have my MCT, and then have the cream, and that would be my breakfast, because some people just can't stomach breakfast in the morning, and instead of going hungry, you might as well fill that gap with something that is a little bit nutritious, especially when you are 9 stone like I am. You kind of don't really have much fat to go on when you are fasting. I find OMADs are so much harder now, and just so much difficult. I can't even live on fizzy drinks and coffee, because the coffee would just make me feel sick, because I just I don't have the bodily fat anymore to kind of keep me going through a 24-hour, and then I'll start shaking, and then I'll start getting really dizzy, and then I'll start getting headaches, regardless of electrolytes or not. Yeah, I mean, the bulletproof coffees, it's not a grey area with keto, but it is very hit and miss. It's not necessary. Like we say,
No, it's not necessary. That's a good word
No,
for
like
it.
there's loads of... there is so many calories of it in it, and obviously if you're putting the collagen in there, I don't know if that contains any calories.
A little bit.
Obviously,
I
if
think
you're
the
putting
protein.
30
yeah,
odd
but then
calories.
you know, you could put the additional protein, and then MCT oil. I sometimes have a fatty hot chocolate. I'll probably have one after this because I won't want to eat, so I'll probably just have a hot chocolate that's quite low in calories. It's about 3.1 carbs for a hot chocolate, and I'll have that with coconut milk and water. Coconut milk's got nothing in it, and then I'll just put some MCT oil in it just to fill a gap. But it's more beneficial than having a cup full of cream or something that I don't really want to eat.
I think people are just misinformed about that calories kind of like don't matter on keto, when calories matter anywhere, and it's the quality of calories, and you know that you're making good choices regardless of what diet you're on.
But if you Google keto, one of the first things that will come up will be bulletproof coffee recipes. So it's understandable why people come in thinking that's what I've got to do. Same as, oh, you have to get your fat macro in. No, you don't. You don't have to get your fats in. But if you're just Googling, it's so easy to see why people would think that. And that's part of what I do as coaching as well, because it takes away from all the questions. They can just get it from one source like me, rather than, the whole of Google.
I mean, yeah, you can Google something and it'll have like 40 different answers anyway, and one of them's going to be the one that you wanted, so...
Yeah.
But
like when you check all the different weather apps to find the weather you want. Yes, it's not raining today, I'll go with that one.
That's so true. I will ignore everything positive until I actually find the answer I want. I completely ignore everything negative towards it.
Human nature, isn't it?
But imagine applying that to your diet, where you want something to be okay.
No, it's true.
Yeah, like when you track something on your app and you say, oh, this glass of wine has come up as no carbs because someone's put it in as that, so this wine is no carbs. If it's too good to be true, it probably is.
Yeah, a lot of those apps have some like major issues, and I know like talked about kind of inputting stuff yourself rather than trusting whatever is like whoever's put on an item.
Oh yeah, big thing I say, don't trust just scanning it. If it doesn't match up to what you see on the packaging, check it. And also cooked weight and raw weight as well, especially pork belly, that loses so much weight during cooking, and if you're weighing that wrong, you could be like losing out on a lot of calories.
I was saying about grilling it as well, that you use a lot of it loses a lot of fat as well.
So talking of foods, what is your go-to favourite breakfast?
Favourite breakfast? Probably very boring, probably just standard eggs and bacon, because that will always keep me going. It's always a good one to go to. But this week, probably the last month, it's been my curries, which you've probably seen.
For
I have
breakfast?
my vindaloos. Yep.
Sometimes I don't even look at the time on stories. I'm waking up in the morning and I just assume that it was someone's dinner. So to know you actually having that for breakfast.
It's not my first meal of the day.
Wow.
It's been just vindaloo sauce, not add cream in, just to make it creamier. and then I'll do loads of chunky veggies with it, like chopped up courgettes and onions. And then lately I've been doing like soft boiled eggs or paneer in it. And that really keeps me going. And I love starting the day with something spicy. And this seems crazy from someone who used to start the day with Pop-Tarts and porridge with added marshmallows, believe me. But I think breakfast food doesn't have to be a breakfast food. Leftovers are some of my favourite things to eat for breakfast. Because you are literally breaking your fast. It should be a nutrient-filled meal.
I am seeing a lot more kind of dinner-based foods as breakfast. Like I know I follow a lot of like carnivore-based people, but I am seeing a lot of people just having like burger patties or steaks for breakfast. Me personally, I couldn't think of anything worse than having a steak for breakfast. But then again, that is just me.
That may be a little bit heavy.
I would rather not eat until 1 o'clock, and I'd rather have bulletproof coffee than have something hot. If I have something hot, it probably would have to be scrambled egg. I probably couldn't even have the cheese. I probably would just have to have scrambled egg and bacon. I don't know what it is. So when I hear curry, I'm like, oh, damn.
I used to eat like oat meal all the time.
Yeah.
I've kind of come back from that because, you know, there's only so many days that you can have it.
And so many calories in it. Especially like it can equal to about 800 just for a bowl.
Wow, I've still never had a proper one. When I tried to make one, it tasted like sawdust, so I never tried again.
I literally had to trial, and then Gia introduced me to hemp seeds, and that was just an absolute game changer. But a lot of them, like a lot of them are kind of samey, but yeah, they do take about 400 to 600 calories.
Depending on what you eat.
Yeah, I mean, if you think 600 calories in an oatmeal, but then you could have like 6 lemon and blueberry blondies free, I don't know what I'd rather.
Which I've still not tried, by the way.
You haven't?
Be the only person not to have tried. No, I must be the only person.
Okay, this has got to be a plug for Gia.
Everyone raves about it. Genuinely not, but I keep seeing them, but no. I think, again, because like Lauren, you know what I'm like with keto sweets, they're another bit of a sticky point for me. Like, if I'm going to have treats in the house, it has to be a small amount. Like, I know when Food Circle did their big boxes of the protein bars that were, you know, all good sweeteners, they were fine. If I had the massive box of 30 bars in the house, I would just plough through them. Whereas if I just bought like 4 bars with my weekly shop, I'd be okay. So I think ordering the right amount of stuff is a big thing for me.
See, now this is where me and you are the complete opposite, because the amount of shit. This is disgusting, by the way. This is actually disgusting. And I don't even touch my actual stash that I barely even touch. Right, and I'll flip it. Oh, here we go. There is literally, they're my key rings, by the way. There is my Fulfill bars, my Quest cookies that I'm not even tempted to touch. And they're at the end of my bed in a box, simply because my dad will moan if they're in the kitchen.
My God, if mine stayed in my bedroom.
I don't have any, I don't know, maybe because I don't really like the cookies, but I love the Fulfill bars, and I've got 2 down in my kitchen as well. I had to grab the mint ones before they went, and the peanut butter ones. But yeah, I don't know, it just goes to show how everyone's got a completely different mentality towards foods as well. I mean, I can have thousands of calories at the end of my bed. I've even got these coconut chips that I kind of dig into sometimes, and they are really nice. But I can... Yeah,
I think it just shows everyone's different relationships with food.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, I'm not even a sweet tooth person. I would always choose savoury over sweet, like crisps over chocolate any day. But it seems to be with that sort of thing. And even when I used to order, I suppose, from the other bakery that we talked about, if I had stuff in the house, I would overeat on it because it tasted like the old food did, I suppose. The bars, I would say, they're not filling, like the Fulfill bars. I know they're all having maltitol in them now anyways, like all the new made ones, but I could eat a lot of them and not feel any more full, really.
So they don't fulfill, really, in a way, do they? It's a shit name for a brand.
A rubbish name. But the fact they're changing their ingredients as well is really rubbish. So it's only a couple of flavours left, wasn't it? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Cheaping out.
It's only a couple of flavours left, like the mint and the cookie that didn't have it in. But now they're going to have it in.
But now they're having it in all of them, yeah. That's why there was such a scramble to get the dark chocolate ones. And then I saw it on your
Yeah.
story, and then I saw you getting the dark chocolate and the peanut butter ones, and I was like, oh, I've got to get one now, haven't I?
Got to be done. There's the Quest cookies as well used to get me. Do you remember the peanut butter Quest
ones in
cookies?
the microwave. Oh my God.
Oh, yes, with peanut butter on top.
Exactly.
See, that's the thing. I'd go for a lot of them. They were really good when they were down to £1 on Food Circle.
See, I bought
like
a
£1 per cookie or
I've
something.
got peanut butter, the double chocolate, and the chocolate chip all at the end of my bed. But I think I've probably only had about 4 of each. But they're like $2.50 a go, and yeah, they are quite filling. But I think the time just needs to be right.
Still feel like just one.
Do they still use the corn fibre? Because there was a major issue with the bars where it was raising people's glucose.
Oh.
It'll be like oligo fructose syrup, I think.
They've got soluble corn fibre.
Yeah, that's it. That's the B.
Ooh, palm oil cocoa processed with alkali. That doesn't sound good.
Cocoa's fine, like that.
This
That's standard.
is the thing. If you stick 3 net carbs on the front of packaging,
people
will buy it.
The thing is,
But it's like
they only
Smart
really
Sweets,
got
yeah.
a handful of ingredients,
Mm.
but I don't really know what makes it so high in calories.
What's your opinion on people that count maltitol as completely negligible? Like people say, "Oh, I don't care. I'm still deducting it entirely."
I think there's like there's research on like the average that you should be taking out. So, but I know that some people's bodies can handle it, and I know that I can't, because those kind of things would trigger like a binge, because it will increase my glucose, whatever. And I know that a lot of people, they can't handle it, and there's a lot more accessible stuff. So if you're getting into reducing your sugar, better for your teeth, whatever, but you might not be able to like stay keto if you have issues with food.
Yeah, because I think, as you say, there's so many more products available with it in because it's cheaper. Like probably 90% of the protein bars on the shelves are sweetened with it, and like the jelly sweets as well, the gummy worms, the gummy bears. I used to have a lot, and I sort of told myself, no, I'm going to deduct all of it because I've decided I want to. Just because I want to, it doesn't change the science of it. And my gut certainly couldn't handle it, I'll tell you that. Definitely not. And it did really increase cravings because I would go through a whole bag of jelly sweets, and just because they're slightly lower in sugar, that's not a good thing for my relationship with food.
But also a lot of the packaging is actually really misleading, because I know I got into a bit of like a spat with that they are using the syrup but are counting it as the powder of maltitol, which has a lower glycemic index, whereas in fact it's actually a 59 on the scale if you use the syrup rather than the 30. So yeah,
the packaging is definitely misleading, and if you're not into, you know, the science of keto much, which majority of the, I'd say our main Instagram community are, everyone sort of knows their stuff. But if you're quite new and you see this packaging claiming 2 net carbs, 3 net carbs, you're going to buy it for convenience without knowing what you're actually putting in your body.
I mean, you can either deduct the whole of the maltitol or only half.
I advise half. If someone's going to have it, deduct half, don't deduct the whole lot.
I mean, it's gonna have an effect regardless. I mean, even if you was to have like half of a grenade bar, it probably will affect you in some way. You might as well just eat the whole thing. I mean, I couldn't eat half a grenade bar. It's like at work when someone has like half a donut, and it's just like, what's wrong with it?
I don't think the grenade bars are good though. Like,
only
I
one
remember
of them.
going to them.
I like the birthday cake one. Birthday cake, I like.
See, I like the Jaffa Quake, but that's about it.
Is it actually called Jaffa Quake, or did you just say that?
No, it's called Jaffa Quake.
Yeah, it's called yeah. It's like the Oppo.
Actually, I thought you said cake, Rob.
I'm not that tired.
Yeah, when you told me that, I was like, Lauren, are you sure it's called that? You're like, yeah, it actually is.
It's like whenever I talk about the raspberry Oppo, like I'll say raspberry nipple, and people think it's a typo, and I'm like, N is not near R on the keyboard. It's actually called raspberry nipple.
The asterisk ripple. No, nipple.
So your favourite breakfast is out of the way. What about for lunch? In the office and at home? I don't know if they differ.
Well, what's like the easiest meal prep lunch that you can think of that's like...
I'd say, but when I was going to the office, it would be leftovers. I'd try to sort of make in advance, like a meat sauce, like a bolognese, just meat and veg, or again, leftover curries. or if it's in the summer, I've taken a ready-made salad. And at my old work, because they were so used to what I did, I would cook fish and eggs and anything I liked in that kitchen, in the microwave. And I could just fully food prep at work. But I've not been in my office now since March, so I was literally only there for 5 weeks. But when I was there, I was taking in, I think it was more picky bits at the time, like I do like a picnic style lunchbox. I have like my baby bells, pepperamis, meat slices. So this time of year, lunches are going to have to be soups, like anything made of squash, pumpkins, and all my spaghetti squash I'm eating at the moment.
I'm so jealous.
Yes,
So jealous of you growing your own.
My squash. I'll send you a squash as soon as we cake. We'll do a trade. They're really great because they feel like a really comforting, warming, like a hearty food. So they're really quite dense. So I'm loving having those for lunches and dinners at the moment.
And also there's so many recipes with them in that we just can't access because we haven't got them.
That's it. I gave him these seeds, like, please Dad, this pack of seeds costs like £1, whereas you can pay £5 for one squash from Ocado or Waitrose or whatever. But I can see why they're expensive, because they've taken over like an entire vegetable patch. They're like really greedy plants. Got more behind me now. See.
Oh, look at it.
It's amazing. Look how autumnal it looks. But I love them and they're so filling. And so something like that for lunch before keto, I wouldn't even have thought of as a lunch. Lunch used to be sandwich, crisps, chocolate bar, and a sugary coffee. But now it'll be a salad in the summer, soup in the autumn, or leftovers if I've got them.
So it's such a great way to do it, and I know that we've been doing kind of bigger batches of stuff, and the air fryer has been a massive game changer in like the world of vegetarian and vegan, because like you get that crisp that you wouldn't normally get, but obviously making like bigger batches is just so much easier to then kind of put it in the freezer, put it in the fridge, just literally grab and go.
Yeah, I think batch cooking's a really important tool, because then there's no excuse. Like if you've, had a late day, it's not like, I don't want to cook. It's like, well, there's something there. There's always something in your freezer. And it's not difficult to do. So you just make more of what you're cooking.
And I think it can be really good for people that have had issues with food as well, because then it's all like prepackaged. It's literally there in your set meals and you can just put it in the microwave. Yeah. And then you've got dinner. So
it's like there's always a second option. And if you're going to go for the best option, it is going to be that option. I mean, there's so many days where I come home and I can just eat the whole house, but I'll always have something planned, especially now. So moving on to dinners, what would be your favourite dinner that you could probably eat for the rest of your life?
Oh my God, so many good dinners. So many good dinners with keto. Also good. Probably going to go for pork belly.
I knew
and
it. What did I say?
Yeah, Lauren called it.
I said it. I was like,
did you? I just love it. I think because it was such a forbidden food before, but pork belly, because it's so fatty, it was so forbidden, and now I can have it. And I think it still surprises me sometimes. I know I can enjoy a food and it's doing good things for me. So that's always great. And Brussels are just my favourite, which again is something I never thought I'd say, but
oh my God, I like
Brussels and pork belly.
Bloat me out.
So good.
They make you fart, but they are so good.
so worth it. Or it would have to be steak and spring greens otherwise, I think.
Oh, spring greens. Full of butter and salt.
Love them, and they're so cheap.
Yeah.
Yes. I had that tonight. Did salmon in the air fryer. That was really nice. With spring greens and butter.
Oh, I still can't eat
really
salmon.
Good.
I crave it all the time.
Still.
I love it, but as soon as I go past it, I'm like, can't.
Well, it might take a while.
That
was a really good looking salmon as well.
Oh, God, it was so good. It was really whole good. Side. But it nearly killed me. I can't eat it anymore. I lost weight because of it though, but that's not the point.
It's right, Lauren's not recommending.
Yeah, air fryer salmon has been a new experience. So I only got my air fryer in August.
Yeah, the air fryer is just so good, like for everything. Oh,
life changing. I was like, it's going to be another kitchen gadget. I don't need something else on the side.
What would your go-to dessert be? Because you sometimes have your Was it the strawberry jelly powder in with double cream, or you'll have your dark chocolate?
Yeah.
Or what would be your go-to dessert?
So I'm not a massive dessert person.
Your desserts are
But
quite savoury,
I
aren't
do.
they? But is that a dessert?
What do you mean? What respect?
Like when you have a dessert,
It was
it's
like
kind
a
of like
ham or something.
ham or cheese
At like
or
10
like
o'clock.
or like peanuts. And so it's kind of like, for me,
Yeah, peanuts.
that
Yeah.
that I don't know, is that a dessert? I mean, the
What do you
only
feel like a
savoury
dessert?
dessert is kind of
It's
like
like cheese board, but
cheese ball, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's dessert.
I'd say the jelly powder and cream is really good. You have to have quite a lot of calories available for it.
Definitely.
But just double cream mixed with the jelly powder, it goes like a really thick, like a fruity yogurt, and it's really like tastes like a yogurt with bits, like that really nice thick flavour. Or if I've got the calories as well, double cream in my mixer with a bit of skinny syrups. The banana one is especially good. It's like a thick creamy banana mousse, and that with a bit of dark chocolate is lush.
Oh god, I really could do
Or
a banana
my
milkshake.
decaf caramel pecan mocha. I'm out of
Obviously,
banana syrup.
because Anna likes the
Yeah,
caramel
my,
pecan now.
Yeah.
Now you
My
like
mochas,
it.
which are
Yeah, Anna posted, she was just like, it's one of the best skinny syrups, and I think I've seen it like once or twice, and my TK Maxx has become a little bit shit recently, but I think it's one I might have to get because people are raving about it, and you've gone for about 5
it
bottles.
is the best flavour. There's only, I think, oh my god, yeah. When they were shut, I was proper having withdrawal symptoms. It's just so good. The only skinny syrup I've not liked was that donut one because it tasted really artificial.
Oh, well,
Like,
the glazed,
tasted
the glazed
donut.
like a bit like
Yeah,
plastic.
yeah. And it
Yeah.
was like cloudy as well.
Ugh.
This is real dodge.
Yeah, the cloudy ones are a bit suspicious.
Yeah, we don't like that.
Pecan's good. There's a pumpkin bourbon I've had before. That was really nice.
I think I've still got that in the cupboard.
Maple something.
Yeah.
Maple pecan something.
The creme brulee one is good.
Any of the autumnal ones are normally
Oh
good.
yeah, I've got like the whole set of the pumpkin
Oh, I've not
spice
had that
ones
one.
ready.
It's so touch and go what you can buy.
The thing I
I've got
don't
all them.
like about them is that they come in such big bottles. Like my caramel fudge waffle cone takes me so long to like use the whole bottle, but I want to try all the flavours, but I'm not going to get through them all unless I literally have them 3 times a day. I went down there the other day and there were just so many that just looked like they would taste so nice, but I just thought to myself, when am I ever going to use them? Because I don't like using them in coffee because I like to taste my coffee, so I don't really like having a syrup unless it's like a latte, which is quite milky. So I thought to myself, like, when am I actually ever going to have it? I don't have shakes or anything, so it's only really when I have my hot chocolate is when I have my syrups. But then you go through them like there's no below tomorrow, and I'm just like, I wish I could go through bottles like this because I want to try them all, but I don't know, I can't.
And James does as well. This is James's standard mug. Look at the size of it. It's a massive.
It's like one of them
Huge
Sports
mug.
Direct mugs.
So he'll have like. Yeah, it's exactly like that. It's a really ugly mug. I don't even like it. I've got my nice Emma Bridgewater mug, and he's got this massive Jägermeister. It's really ugly. I don't like it. Ruins my selection. But he goes through them as much as I do, and then like sometimes as a dessert we'll have the caramel pecan syrup with a spoon of the Galaxy Light hot chocolate.
Oh yeah.
And then squirty cream on top, so it's like my decaf.
Always squirty cream.
That comes in quite low calorie and low carb.
Yeah.
Gotta be done, and a bit of Calofit on top. It's all
Always.
caramel.
Always.
Gotta be done. And that tastes like a proper treat. It tastes so indulgent.
It does, yeah. Like I said, when I have my fatty hot chocolates, I'll just shove a load of cream on top, put a syrup on it, and it just does the job. I don't feel like I need to eat anything. I know I'm kind of against drinking your calories.
No, it's so filling and
but I'd rather drink that of an evening than have food sitting on my stomach where I'm not really going to digest it for like another hour and then going to bed heavy bellied. I'd rather have like 100, 200 calorie hot fatty chocolate than starting my day with like a 200-300 calorie coffee that's got nothing but...
Yeah, you're finishing off your day rather than starting it. Yeah, I think that's a big difference.
Yeah.
And this is what, like, going back to some of the things that are marketed towards people at keto, is that you might have them at the end of the day and you don't realise the effect that they're going to have on you until the next day, where you realise that your cravings are really high. And it's because something's obviously not agreed with you, like sweetener-wise or fibre syrup-wise or whatever. And like, I do try to stay away from those, like oligofructose especially, and IMOs, apart from Smart Sweets, because like the peach rings are something else. And also because I bought all those from America, so I will have to eat them.
I'm so desperate to try those peach things.
They've changed the
So
recipe
desperate to
though.
try them.
Oh yeah, they did, didn't they?
Yeah, massive
Oh, no.
uproar. But so I'm not having them
Not
again.
as good, or?
Well, no, I haven't tried the new batch, but I know that the carbs aren't as good. But then they did have IMO in them anyway, so they probably weren't the right carb count to start with. So I try and like limit that. But you always know, the next day whether you like ate well the day before.
Yeah, you can feel it when you wake up with how hungry you are.
But then everyone's different. I mean, maltitol could have the worst effect on someone. I know that when I used to eat it, it used to fall straight out of me. But now I can just eat it like it's nothing. Like I could probably eat a whole bag of gummy sweets or like Werther's Originals and it wouldn't have any effect. It'd probably blow me out a little bit because it doesn't agree with the gut. But I'd rather have something that's...
You're eating it educated, like you know that if that says, it's 20 deductible polyols on it, and you know that's not true, but you're eating it educated. You're not like convincing yourself, actually, no, this is no carbs, so it's fine.
Yeah.
As long as you're eating educated,
yeah, exactly.
That's a big difference. You're not lying to yourself.
But the thing with inulin is that it's actually got like benefits outside of just being low carb, like with sleep and stuff. So you kind of have to balance that, like, and also it's not really for people that are having a lot of fibre in their day. Yeah, I think you just have to be aware of what you're putting in, and if something changes, then you should be looking back at the last couple of days and seeing where was that change.
But that's also about when we was talking about weighing daily as opposed to weighing weekly. The foods that you eat can also have such an effect on how you feel. I mean, if I were to eat something that makes me feel bloated in the morning, I know damn right that I'm not going to weigh because I've got a little bit of air there, which has obviously been caused by something I've eaten the next day. But then if I do weigh and I'm up a couple of pounds, then I know it's because of what I've just eaten. So then I kind of know not to eat that because it hasn't reacted with me, it hasn't digested well. I do take my Digestimax when I know that something isn't going to agree with me or it's not going to digest well, especially if I have a bad carb. But it's just about just eating what's going to agree with you and what's not going to agree with you and how you're going to feel the next day.
And I think especially moving from like a much lower fibre diet, which the standard kind of diet is, into a much higher fibre diet, like there's always going to be kind of issues in the first like couple of weeks, just where your gut biome adjusts to no starches, no sugars, and it now has to feed off of the fibre that you're giving it.
Yeah.
And so obviously it's going to bloat because it's had to change its whole system.
Yeah. But it's like we were saying the other week.
Lauren, even saying...
Sorry, go on.
I was saying, like you're saying about Brussels bloating you.
Oh, and cabbage.
Say Brussels, cabbage, yeah, massively. Onions do it for me. Cauliflower to some extent. You can either choose to avoid it or have it and know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't cut out onions. I wouldn't want to, but they do make me a bit bloated.
But then again, that's why I have my Digestimax. If I'm going to have something that I know is going to bloat me out, then I will just have...
It doesn't mean it's going to be the case.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I think we've gone through almost 20 questions. I wanted to get 20, but...
19, didn't you?
Well, there was kind of questions within questions, wasn't there? So,
Questionception, if you will.
if we end it with, if there's one piece of advice you could give to beginners, what would it be? Someone who is literally just starting out, what advice would you give them? I think that was question 6.
We kind of covered some of it in when you said, what did you know at the beginning? Calories over carbs. Did I say about that? think
Oh,
I said
yeah.
about that, didn't I? Yeah, I think that's what I said. There we go. Yeah, so my main advice at the beginning would be to trust the process and don't overcomplicate it. Because in the beginning it can be really tempting to buy all the low carb replacements, shakes and breads, etc. Or try out really fancy, overcomplicated recipes that end up putting you off. But just keeping it simple with a fatty protein and a bulky veg always works, or even a lean protein, bulky veg, and then some fat on the side, just butter or mayo, just keeps the cravings down. And then when you're fat adapted, you can look at bringing in the replacements later on. And also to remember that ketosis is triggered by the absence of carbs and not the presence of fat. Yes, you do need a certain amount of fat to keep you full, but you do not need to needlessly eat fat at the end of the day if you're already feeling full. And that took me, I think, far too long at the beginning to realise that. I'd be completely full and I'd be eating just to get to my fat number. When you don't need to do it, you really don't. As long as you're within your calories, within your carbs, you hit your protein as a minimum, over if you can, you'll get to your goal.
Yeah, no, I think that is quite solid advice in a way. And I think a lot of people that are either halfway through their journeys or at the end of their journeys, they would probably agree on that. I think that is something that we all kind of needed to know at the beginning, but it's a learning curve. Obviously, we learn as you go on.
And we're here for all the beginners now, so...
No, exactly, it's true, we are. You know,
Yeah.
anyone... I mean, I wouldn't think to go to a podcast if I wanted to start keto. The first thing we do is go on to Diet Doctor. I'm sure everyone went to Diet Doctor when they started keto.
Yeah.
So it's good to kind of... Because that's not really speaking from loads of people's like experience or perspective. It's just one.
And it's very science-based, and it can be, and I said this last week, is that the information online can be so overwhelming. So, you know, to be honest, like, whoever's listening, like, I'm sure that any of us, including the other girls, will be happy to answer DMs from our experience if that would help you, and maybe in an easier format than what would be online that you're trying to like Google all the time. And obviously Lauren here is a coach, so if you'd like to find out more about that, I will leave the link in the description. But yeah,
and hopefully it will make keto easier for people, because obviously we do just see this, you know, it's not a one size fits all, but as soon as you do go onto Google, you just get the same stuff thrown in your face. So to hear it from other people's perspectives and experiences and journeys, it will kind of give people that little bit of hope that keto may actually work for them. Ash, for example, did keto a couple of years ago and wasn't really successful with it. And then he looked into it more and, you know, he was following random people and thinking, oh, actually, I can do this now. And I didn't know this before. So it's good to kind of give people that hope that they can, you know, even if they have tried every single slimming club, then this may actually work for them, because it's worked for us and we basically don't stop raving about it. But we don't.
And we've all come from such different experiences as well.
Yeah,
and
all our journeys are different.
We've all got different journeys, and it just shows it can work for so many people. And anyone that's not tried it before and is considering it, you've got nothing to lose by trying it.
Exactly, nothing to lose but weight.
I like that. Good.
Right, so Lauren, how can they find out about your coaching?
I've got a link in my bio on Instagram, and there's a link to my website, which is up and running now. That got launched last week. That's up now. So yeah, get in touch. Just got all my contact information on there.
Cool. And that's it from us today. Thank you for listening to the episode if you got this far. And obviously, as I said at the beginning, please review us and please subscribe. It really helps us. I hope that you enjoyed.